Namaste. Welcome back, beautiful souls. This is Top Tarot Miners, and today I'm going to talk about or share some cards from the King of Wands. And this is our first king. I have to say that of all of the court cards, I find the kings most challenging to connect with, to connect to their energy, to their spirit. And so today I have chosen some very elemental decks that really focus on the energy of the suit. And one of the things that I really believe is that in order to understand the tarot, we have to be able to embody the energy. And so that's why I'm going in this particular. Camera's back. And that one's back. Let's try this. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's hopefully this will, I won't get interrupted. If I do, I will come back and start again because I think this is a really important episode. The other tech bit I want to share with you was I rewatched a video the other day, and I endeavor when I'm showing cards to make my screen little or not at all, and then feature the cards. But the whole temperance video, my face was large and the cards were tiny. And if that ever happens, or that's what you're seeing, please let me know. I think it was a glitch on my software, but I really appreciate your support in the chat, tech things, anything that's going on. So welcome to Amelia and Saskia. Namaste. I think I'm going to start with Papa Staff. One of the things that made an impression the first time I read Courtney Alexander's guidebook for Dust to Onyx Tarot was, and this is my memory because it's been a while since I've read this, but a parade. And I don't know if this was a dream, but in her dream, there was this parade of beings, and they were tall and they were luminary. And I really like in the court cards, and I mean, this happens throughout the deck, but particularly in the court cards, the way the eyes or an essence shines through the rest of the collage. These feel like otherworldly energies, and it helps me to connect to the essence of what this court card represents. So in general, the kings are the ones who have mastered. And what does that mean? They've mastered the element. It means that if we relate to it as a human, they have been working with this element since childhood. They have had parents, they have had experiences, they have had journeys where this particular element has been in the forefront of their exploration, or it has been a big part of their karma. The element of fire is one that we tend to keep away from children. It's dangerous. Don't play with fire. And yet I think we need to be careful with those words. Fire is drive. Fire is will. Fire is a spark of life. It is connected to magic and energy. So it's really important that children play with fire. And that means they have free reign of finger paints and artistic material, that they are allowed to run and play and jump and be free. If we look at this more from a little bit later on in the journey, the exploration of one's dharma can come up quite early in life. And to find one's purpose means we need to be able to have freedom to explore lots and lots of things. So the King of Wands, as master of this element, has really fully explored all of the aspects of this element. And so from the words of Courtney Alexander, Papa Staff is the primordial fire, raw power, versatile yet volatile, the great creator and destroyer. Fire is pure energy, the spark of the soul. It is essential to life. Entire ecosystems rely on wildfires to strip away dead plants material so that more sunlight and moisture can penetrate the deep soil, resulting in fresh vegetation. Fire is the energy of pure creative manifestation and is also a trigger for certain species of plants to germinate, a great metaphor for sparks of inspiration. It is the wild and passionate desire to be seen and be heard. Papa Staff will not go unnoticed and will set the room ablaze if he doesn't receive the respect he commands. And so I appreciate in her description that she both addresses the energetic qualities of the element as well as the human shadow of being responsible for such a great power. This energy is what makes Papa Staff such a powerful driving force. He is tireless in his pursuit and his desire to bring into reality what he sets to mind. And yes, so another shadow of this court is knowing when to recognize this tirelessness as a danger. James Wanless, in the Voyager Tarot, has a different system for the courts. The sage, they're called sages, for the highest evolution of each of the elements. And he says that this particular card is infinite radiance. Be like fire, burn through, to see the eternal truths live in the light of the Spirit. We often look at the journey through the four elements as different paths to spirit. And so this quality of fire connects us directly to that through our own inner drive and our inner will. Live in the light of spirit. And let's remember that it also creates light. It illuminates. Enlightened living comes from working with a spiritual discipline. Any path or technique that helps you transcend the physical self and personal ego. And I know sometimes we talk about athleticism in this particular suit. And I know that athletes, when they reach a certain level of energy, there is this transition. And I remember the first time this happened to me, I was really young. I was still in high school, grade 11 or 12. And I hit that plateau where the running became effortless and the endorphins kicked in, and I thought I had transitioned to another plane. And so when we learn to work with fire, we have this ability to connect deeply with spirit. Your illumination process will awaken great fire and energy within you. Come alive into the full passion of being and into the full heat of your personal power. Use your understanding to be fearless in the realization of your whole self. And apply the heat of your being to transform and to heal. This is a really important sentence. So we not only use each of the elements to journey through life, but to heal at every level. Radiate your light, to reveal, and to counsel. And that's another important verb, I think, in terms of, excuse me while I juggle all these great words. Counsel. So the kings are leaders, and they are also counselors. And this role is so important because without their great counsel and the sharing of their great experience, where are we, right? Margaret Peterson shares something very similar in her deck. And this, I shared the Mother of Flames yesterday as Durga. This is the energy of Shiva, among other things. Originating from the flame, my mind is a firework in the night. Sparks fall down from the sky and fire explodes. Drops of fire collide and drift apart. A rolling wave of fire washes images from the realm of unconsciousness, an endless stream of images, half-torn, half-burnt, images of entangled predators, masks, distorted faces, angels and devils, one consuming and discharging the other, frenzied images, a shower of sparks cascading down and creating new scenes, images of entangled bodies, one giving birth to the other. So this idea that as we dive into the fire, there is this possibility for endless creation, but we can't birth something, create something without the death of another something. It is a natural law. And so the Indian god, the Hindu god, the yogic master, Shiva, is often used in terms of this particular court. He created the world, they, right? Androgynous, really, created the world through dance and dancing with fire. And in this creative act, many of these myths are born and life is born. I become a spark, melt into the wave of images and burn my old trajectories. So we must be willing to release the past. And I think this is something quite refreshing about the King of Fire, that he is willing to be in the fire and be in the transformation of the fire and know its potency. So I think it's really important to embrace this this quality and this idea of manifestation, inner sight and light and connection to spirit is also reflected in Shamash, in the Mariel Tarot, the Eye of Horus on the third eye, those eyes looking inward and directly connecting to spirit. And I wasn't going to pull this card out, but I think this is an interesting, similar portrayal between the Mariel and Tarot of the Strange Branches, in that this fourth court is completely consumed in one with spirit, and spirit being a synonym for fire. And if you think about your fire, it is your spirit, right? It is your energy. And so sometimes when we forget what these court cards mean. We really need to go back to the energy of the element and find a way to connect with it. Okay, so on the left is the Gaian, in the middle is the herb crafter, and on the right is pagan other worlds. And pagan other worlds feels to me so embodied. I imagine this figure has journeyed and walked and wandered at length, and there's something about this strength of the physical body that helps burn through. Now, I'm just thinking, like, all beings don't have that opportunity to burn through and transform through fire physically, because we're not all able to climb mountains and run marathons and go on long sojourns on foot. So it's important that we each learn to connect to the power of the element that is going to help with our transformation. And we have other options. And so, again, I'm repeating myself, but yeah, learn to connect to these. Now, it's not only through athleticism, but I'm looking at the two curanderas in the cards on the left. So we have a curandera in both of these cards who are working with ritual magic. And magic and the energy of connecting to spirit through magic and ritual is another way to connect to the heart of fire. It can become intoxicating. And I spoke to this yesterday about sitting with fire, whether it's a solo fire or whether you are in a circle. And I have never, oh my God, my first group fire with the shamanic group that I joined, I had no idea that fire ceremony was going to go on and on and on and on. We're still out there. It's after midnight. We have chanted, we have sung, we have put offerings in. There have been countless and countless connections to the fire, and the fire has been, maintained. And it's almost like the leaders are trying to, the fire won't be complete until the leader senses we have all truly burnt through something. And this takes me to another energy, and that is, and I've heard this in a few different places. So there are opportunities where you can still work one-on-one with a yoga master. And if you have the privilege of working one-on-one with a yoga master, it is not uncommon for that teacher to have you stay in a pose until you burn through. It could be a fiery pose, one of the warrior poses. It could be something on the floor, which is slightly less traumatizing. But it is a way to help you burn through that which is stuck and blocked. And this can happen in a seated forward fold. It can happen in any number of positions where your teacher recognizes that this is the position exactly that you need to be in to burn through the stuff that you haven't made any effort to burn through. And so working with a healer of any discipline is going to help you to move through your stuff. Now, the curanderas are usually I don't know if they're necessarily working one-on-one with a client. They tend to be more of a community master, and the madres would be working with the people. But this is such a revered energy. Let me read you a little bit from Herb Crafter if I have it out. Or I can read to you from the Gaian Tarot. Sure, let's do that. This is from the Gaian Tarot. A curandera squats on the earth in front of an altar honoring the ancestors during Los Dias de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. She holds a handful of burning herbs that direct waves of energy to dissipate the foul and bring in the sweet. She lives in La Época del Mito, the time of myth, the other world, as much or more than she does in the world of consensual reality. Her gaze, directed at the viewer, is potent and challenging, and she reminds us to open up to the other world, the world of energy patterns, spirits, and invisibles. When we shift our inner reality, our outer reality shifts as well. Her ally is Iguana, who brings the medicine of the dream time. Saskia, in the Chinese 5 elements, the heart is the organ associated with fire. Passion. And it is the organ that manages, find another verb, all systems of the body, right? Without without breath, but also without heart, we are not vital. We are not living. Okay. Well, hopefully you found some inspiration here today, and I'm going to share with you my top 5. And Saskia, I'm looking at the curandera in the Herb Crafter's Tarot, and I see the hands, and the hands are the physical connection, the skin as well, right, to the heart. And that just feels, and it's almost like she's creating a heart shape, and the point of the fingers, the point of the heart points to the altar. I love this card. It just really reminds me that it can be simple but it needs to be practiced. And there's a level of dedication. And I've spoken about fire and dedication and discipline throughout these 14 cards before. And I have to say, I think it's a really important word here. Okay, so, wow. This is, I don't know. I like this pagan. I like the pagan otherworlds court cards. I think there is something that is going on in these cards unspoken. There is a deep connection to the elements in most of them. If you haven't had this deck out in a while, pull it out and have a look at the court cards. So here are 4 favorite King of Wands, and then from the others I'll choose one. And then, of course, this energy, right? It can come in. It's an androgynous energy. It can appear feminine. It can appear masculine. It comes in so many ways. I think I'm going to honor. Oh my gosh! Look at. I'm going to put the Voyager Tarot here. All right. There we go. Top 5 King of Wands, and this is the end of the first suit. Left to right, Voyager, dust to onyx, Pagan Otherworlds, Marielle, and Herb Crafter. Thank you for being here, and I will be back next with Ace of Cups, and also returning to Top Tarot Trumps this week with the Devil card. Have a lovely rest of your day. Take good care. Namaste.